if you're watching this because your child is begging you for rats and you think that rats are dirty, horrible creatures, then I'm hoping that I can just show you that they're not disgusting creatures. This is little Beth. She's a very wriggly, active female rat. She is fully grown, but she's a small adult rat. But rats are very intelligent. They are very, very cute. They're very clean, and they're very, very affectionate, and they love to play and spend time with humans. Rats must be kept in at least 2 pairs or small groups. If you're starting off with rats, 2 is a good number to start with, 2 or 3. And here we go, and here's little Sasha, who's also, and now Beth and Sasha are actually sisters. They have another sister, Maggie, who's asleep at the moment. But see how lovely these little girls are? They're very sweet, very gentle. Rats will only bite if they have not been handled and they're nervous, if they've been badly treated. So just handle them gently with no sudden noises and let them get to know you, and you will have beautiful, affectionate animals. I think the other major concern is, will my child catch a disease from rats? Now, domesticated rats do not usually carry any diseases, which is why it's important that you go to a good breeder and make sure that the rats have a good healthy start in life. I believe the main cause of when you hear about people who say they've caught diseases from rats. Now, I believe that this comes from outdoor contamination. Your child is much more likely to catch a disease from your cat or your dog. And if you have other animals, they are constantly bringing in bacteria from wild rodents into your house. If your rat was to come into contact with the cat or the dog, or somewhere the cat or dog has been, yes, they could pick up some bacteria that they could pass on to your child. But if you follow basic hygiene, that you do not allow your rats to come into contact with anywhere that your cat or dog plays, you do not allow your rat to come into contact with wild rodents. So that means not keeping their bedding and food in sheds, to keep it stored in the house in sealed containers, and keeping your home free of wild rodents. Be aware that squirrels also carry the same bacteria that wild rodents do. Make sure that your child always washes their hands after handling any animal. But I can't emphasize how important this is, that your child is more at risk of catching a disease from your domesticated cat or dog, because they play in the garden, they play where wild rodents and squirrels are, and they will bring the bacteria into your home, not your domesticated rat that has come from a good breeder. So really, I just cannot emphasize that enough. And when your child has been playing in the garden, whether you have animals or not, to emphasize they must always wash their hands before eating, and if they get any scratches or anything, to wash and disinfect their hands. Rats, they are just clean basically. And so when they're in your home, if you've done everything you can, you should not be at risk from your domesticated rats. Now, whether you should have boys or girls, girls are very lively and wriggly. If you have very young children, I don't actually believe that rats are good for very young children. You have to teach children how to handle rats properly. So under the age of about 8, your child would need constant supervision, and they'd have to learn to be quiet and not to squeeze the rats. So if the child is very young, they're really your pets and not your children's pets. And even if your child is over 8, it depends on the maturity of the child and the understanding of the child of caring for the small animals. Here I have my bigger male rats, some of my bigger male rats here. So it depends on the maturity of the child, whether they're able to understand how delicate rats can be. Often people start with 2 male rats for children, because they're less agile, they're less lively, and they're far easier to handle, a bit bigger. So there you have to sort of think about male or female rats. You are going to need a big cage, and you're going to need lots of toys. You're going to need a reserve of money because rats can have health problems, and you cannot just leave a rat to suffer if they're not well. You do need to take them to the vet. So there's one of my other cages. You see, you need lots of toys, big size cages. And here I've got a group of 7 rats. You see they're in a very big cage. Lots of toys, and I'm going to show you some of my cuddly male rats who get very big. So rats don't smell, it is purely the urine. Unneutered male rats can be a bit more smelly, but it is just the urine, so it means constantly changing their paper every day. So you're going to need lots of time. Rats need at least an hour a day out of their cage, but these boys are so cuddly, and these came to us as rescues at 4.5 weeks old, had never been handled, and are now the most beautiful, soft and gentle rats. And if you want a rat that is for a child who's not used to rats, a couple of males, 2 male brothers that you get at the same time, make lovely docile pets that they will just sit around and cuddle and have a little potter about, whereas the female rats are great for older children or children who have already had rats and have got used to handling rats. So please don't be put off by all the horror stories that you've heard about rats, or thinking that they're dirty or smelly or they're going to bite, because rats are absolutely beautiful, absolutely wonderful, and I adore my rats. Now, see, you're so cute, aren't you? So cute and cuddly. This is Jim and Jacob, and that's little Jack down there. So, you know, they're wonderful pets, just sensible precautions. Be aware that whatever age your child is, you are responsible for these animals until your child becomes an adult. So you must check them daily and get them medical help, where veterinary care when it's needed. But they are wonderful, and it's just getting to know them. If you've never experienced rats, I would suggest that you go to a rescue centre where you can handle some rats. Or find a breeder who would be happy for you to come and handle some rats, so you can actually see how gentle they are yourself. But please don't be put off by thinking they're dirty, smelly, they bite, or they carry nasty diseases. And I always tell your children, please don't nag your parents. That doesn't help. But I think it's nice if you can consider everything and get to know rats before you automatically just say no rats. And I think you might be very surprised of how lovely rats can be.